What's going on there, guys? We back with another one, and today, man, we got Redick versus Kendrick Perkins. Now, these guys, they both played under Coach Doc Rivers. Kendrick Perkins for the Boston Celtics, where he won his championship, and Redick, where he had some of his best seasons under Doc Rivers when he was playing with the Los Angeles Clippers. And so they were talking about the fact that Doc Rivers is known to blow some leads. You know, Redick brought that up, the fact that he has blown several 3-1 leads, and he's done it with different teams. And some of those teams actually had good talent, most notably that Los Angeles Clippers team in the bubble that year with Kawhi Leonard and Paul George losing to the Denver Nuggets after they had a 3-1 lead. So he brought that up, and Kendrick Perkins didn't like that too much, you know, because Kendrick had his best years again in Boston with the big three of Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. And not only that, you know, they had Rajon Rondo, great role players like James Posey. I mean, the team was stacked. I think PJ Brown played for them. They had a very deep team. Yeah, man. So they got to talking about it. And without further ado, I'm going to let you hear what they said, and I'll be back. Check it out.
But we're talking about between the 76ers and the Nets, and you asking me who I trust the most, I'm going with the 76ers. And let me ask you this. Me and you both played with Doc Rivers. Do you not trust Doc Rivers when you had one of your best seasons and was having some of your best seasons under Doc Rivers?
Of course. Of course.
Okay, so
Doc
do you
Rivers,
not
I mean, if we're being frank,
though,
Doc Rivers has also blown a lot of playoff series leads. So he's the only coach to do it more than once, and he's done it 3 times in terms of having a 3-1 lead. And that's not on him. That's on the players, too. I was part of one of those. I'll admit it was on me, too. I'm not blaming Doc.
I mean, to be honest, he just didn't have them. He didn't have them dogs when he blew them leads. See, he didn't blow leads when he was with the Celtics because he had them dogs. He didn't blow leads.
Now
when
you're
he was
getting
with
personal.
No, it's not getting personal. No, it's not getting personal, JJ. I'm just telling you.
I mean, you know, your points are valid. And I'm posing questions to you, and you're doing a fantastic job of answering them. I want to go back though, because I agree with you. The last time we saw the Brooklyn Nets in the playoffs, it was not good. They got swept by the Celtics. There was something off about the team. There was something off about Kevin. The body language wasn't great. I agree with you on all those counts. You have to admit, though, that the version of the Brooklyn Nets that we thought we were going to get over the last 2 seasons, we are seeing that version right now under Jacques Vaughn over these past 25 games.
No, and I agree. Let me tell you something, JJ. Listen. The dogs that I was talking about, it had nothing to do with you. We already know that you're a pit bull. We know that. We know that when you start turning red. Let me get that out the way. But I'm still a strong believer in this. No matter how much we talk about offense, right? And you know this. If you don't have that center or that guy that's going to anchor your defense, you're not going to win a championship.
So I tend to agree with Redick on this topic. There's this thing called objectivity whenever you're speaking on these teams. And so sometimes the lines get blurred. Someone you have a really good relationship with, you may have to speak on an aspect of their coaching or their style of play or whatever that may not be favorable to them or may not be indicative of what you would say to them on a day-to-day basis. So sometimes, you know, you'll see these guys get up here and they'll speak and they'll be like, you had all this chance to say it to their face and you never brought that up. Well, that's not the nature of their relationship. So when JJ was playing for him, he's player coach. You know what I'm saying? He's not like the superstar. He was one of the better players, but it's not his job to say, you know, you blew 3-1 leads, you know, whenever you're going into the fire with them, because the belief around the locker room is that you're going to get over that hump. So it would be no need for him to bring up something like that. But in this setting, with him as an analyst, along with Kendrick Perkins, they're supposed to be able to speak on these things with not getting disrespectful, but if there's actually some validity to what's being said, it has to be explored, it has to be talked about, and it has to be brought to the forefront. Like Doc Rivers, yes, he has won a championship, but I mean, a lot of people think about it, you know, that's Ray Allen, Paul Pierce, and Kevin Garnett. maybe not in their physical athletic primes at the time, even though they were in their prime, but it was like the backside of their primes at the time. But a lot of people believe you could have won with that roster, because those were smarter, older veteran players. So nobody was there to try to win MVP or try to, they didn't have, put it like this, they had accomplished all of their all-star / individual type goals. I mean, even though they still made all-star teams at that time, they were already accomplished. So it's different with them coming together and playing and trying to get, guys who still have like some personal goals they want to accomplish, and you coaching that. You know what I'm saying? So I agree with JJ. It's pretty valid what he's talking about. I think Kendrick Perkins, when he said he didn't have the dogs and JJ being a part of those teams, naturally as an athlete, you think that's directed at you. But I think Perk was more so talking about the superstar players or, the toughness of the teams. Because if you look at, let's see, when he was coaching the Clippers, and they blew that 3-1 lead to Denver, a lot of people was talking about Kawhi's load management, and they were talking about him not being a vocal leader. And Paul George isn't necessarily one either. You just had a bunch of guys that can play, but you didn't have like no vocal leader. And I think that's what Perk was talking about, somebody that held players accountable. Not saying that they didn't say little things here and there in the locker room, but you had, Kawhi's just one of those guys that goes out there and leads by his playing, but you could also argue that at some point you have to lead with your work ethic too. And if people felt like he wasn't injured and that he was just taking games off and then showing up and playing, that wasn't going to translate. So Doc, he struggled with those guys. Doc has blown the 3-1 lead 3 times in his career. He's done it once with Orlando Magic when Tracy McGrady was the star against the Detroit Pistons, back when he was averaging like 32 a game. Then he blew it twice with the Los Angeles Clippers. He did it back in 2015 against the Houston Rockets, and he did it that time in the bubble, so against Denver. So I feel like what JJ was saying was legit, but hey, it was good to see these guys get back on track. It wasn't nothing too crazy, but I wanted to share that with y'all. Hey, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, peace.